another episode of Musings podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Mildred, and I'm so happy that I've joined me on another Saturday for another amazing episode. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about my love for TV shows, which is funny because, like, this week being so busy, I haven't been able to watch a lot of shows. And when I was writing this title down, I didn't know that this week was going to be the way it was. I didn't even think that it was going to be the way it was. But yeah, it's just I don't know. As I told you, I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. So looking for topics to talk about on Saturdays, it's getting harder and harder. And because I've been busy, I haven't been able to go online to, look at what is happening, what is trending, and, jump on those topics and talk about them too. So I'm just going to do a little video, a little musing session for, my love for TV shows. Because it has been, I don't know, as long as I can remember, I've always loved TV. It has just been something that I used to love and everything. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about something I forgot to mention last Wednesday. Because as soon as I watched Chief Daddy, I realized that the Chief Daddy Part 2 is on Netflix. So yeah, I'm going to be watching it for not next week, but next week, but once episode. So wait for Chief Daddy Part 2 review next week, but one. Yeah, so I saw it and I even saw the trailer. It's hectic like the first one, but we're going to get to that. I forgot to mention it last time, like last Wednesday. I want to talk about it, but then I don't know, with the way people are making noise and stuff like that, it was just crazy. And I know I'm saying this today, but I'm recording on the same day I was recording Chaguo. So it's just I finished recording Chaguo and I'm recording this one right now. The people are still making noise. The lady is still shouting. I don't know why she's shouting. She keeps raising her voice and they keep knocking things over. I don't know what's happening in that house. But as I said, the other recording, they're going up and down the stairs and everything. I don't know. And now we're almost at 1. But these guys are still very much active, which is funny because yesterday, this was on Thursday. I remember I was so tired to even record, but because I had edited the other shows for last week and I had also baked and done all of these things. So I was like, okay, I can't, let me just rest. I don't want to do anything this evening. So I didn't. And then I was like, you know what? I wish I would have recorded today because today is a good day. People are quiet. But then I didn't do that yesterday. So today, naumia, mimi ndio. I have to go through all of this, listening to the noise outside. So again, a disclaimer, forgive me if you do. I told you I have neighbors. I can't tell them to shut up. They also have the freedom to, do whatever they want to do in their own spaces. So all I have to do is just respect them and, push through the noise because I can hear them. Like I can literally hear what they're saying. And it's because it's at night and it's quiet. And our corridors usually tend to carry the voices. I don't know, even if you're upstairs or downstairs and I'm here in my place, I will still hear whatever you're saying as long as your doors are open and stuff. So, yeah, they're still talking, but that's okay. At least they're happy, and that's all we're chasing in this life right now, yeah. So, yeah, let's get into today's topic. So, my love for TV shows. As I was saying earlier, it started when I was a kid. For as long as I can remember, I remember watching Cartoon Network. Anybody, any 90s kids, you remember all the millennials, you remember all the beautiful cartoons. Courage the Cowardly Dog, you remember Johnny Bravo, you remember Tom and Jerry, you remember, oh my god, Ed and Eddie, you remember Powerpuff Girls, you remember Cow and Chicken, you remember oh my god, this is so nostalgic. All these cartoons, I remember them. And I remember I used to be so addicted. Like Monday to Friday, of course not. But then over the weekend, you wouldn't be able to remove me from that TV in the morning. Because I wouldn't budge. Watching cartoon, I wouldn't budge. And then as I grew older, there were these ones that used to come on KTN. I've forgotten the names, but I remember that lady with was it just the red hat? She was dressed in red, all red or something. There are these cartoons that used to come on KTN after school before to Rudy on the beat the beat on NTV, but KTN had cartoons that used to show after school. So I would rush home in the afternoon so that I could just go and watch those cartoons before anything else. And then as I grew up, of course, those were happening, but also telenovelas and Filipina teleseries like Akina Angelo. Oh my God. Vipindi kama Akina Storm of Paradise, La Tempestad, God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, imagine as I put on my three sisters. Um, I'm talking about the ones from back then. Three Sides of Anna near Juicy Juicy, but back when I was a kid. I remember all of these things, and I wasn't supposed to be watching them, but they were on prime time, so we would watch them. And, of course, parental guidance was advised, but hey, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't tell me not to watch. I would go to school and recite to everything that happened because I was there and I listened, and I will find myself being the one telling people that, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And it was so funny because as a kid, you're not supposed to be watching those shows. But then here I was watching them, even The Bold and the Beautiful. I remember I used to pretend to be asleep on the couch. And so after we eat supper, because it used to come at 9, or was it after the news at 9? So 9 something or 10, let's say 10 p.m. So I remember I would pretend to fall asleep on the couch. And so when we were eating supper, we used to wash our hands on a basin, and I wouldn't go and pour the water out. So I would put it under the table so that I would pretend to be asleep and cover myself. And then, because I can hear the audio, but then I'm watching the images on the water under the table in the basin. And my grandmother, I don't know if she ever realized, and she was just like, this child. But I used to do that as a kid because The Bold and the Beautiful was amazing. Akina Stephanie, was it called Stephanie? Oh my God, Brooke made a. I remember watching that woman and being like, what? You slept with the father and the son, and you have children with the son and also the dad. So these kids are calling each other what? Taylor and stuff like that. Am I even remembering these names correctly? And then the passion. Oh my, was it the passion or was it just passions? Passions. It used to be on KBC. Back then, KBC had TV shows, man. I mean, I haven't watched KBC for such a long time. I think since I left my grandma's place, I don't think I've just sat down and watched KBC. Because back in the day, that was the most popular TV station. It was the first one, the only one that used to be there before Kina KTN and TV Citizen came. And when they did, TV shows za KBC zikaanza kupunguka. I remember I used to love them. I remember my first horror movie, I watched it on KBC. And it was at night. I was with my friends. So where I grew up, we used to have a TV hall. And the TV was a JVC that was black and white, but it was big. And I remember we would sit in the hall at night. Okay, back then, when I was a kid, people where I grew up, they didn't have their own personal TVs. That's why we had a hall that had a TV. So everybody would go there for wrestling, for passion, for the news, for stuff like that. Well, if you wanted to. But then as kids, there's some things they didn't want us to watch, so we'll be asked to leave or something like that. But as we grew older, people started buying their own TVs in their homes. People stopped going to the hall, but we used to go. So my friends and I, we used to go. That is Johnny Glady and the late Kenya. We used to go and sit at the hall and just watch whatever. So I remember this one time we watched a horror movie on black and white TV. It was called Doppelganger. And I remember that thing freaked me out. Up to date, I cannot sit through a horror movie. I just can't do it. Because the whole where it was located a little bit far from where my house was. So I had to walk, and my friends, they could only take me so far because them, they used to stay nearer to the hall. And I had to walk all the way down to my place by myself, and I could see the things I had seen in that movie on the yeah. I wish I could explain to you how it was, that place, and you'd understand how freaky it was. I was like, I'm never watching a horror movie. I don't think I've ever watched another horror movie. And I don't know what it will take me to watch another one. Maybe if I met somebody who loves horror movies and I was in love with them and they told me for me to watch soap operas or, these lovey-dovey kinds of movies with you, you have to at least watch one horror movie with me per week. That is the only time I would sacrifice. But I cannot do it. The most I can do is a thriller, and that is like in a Vampire Diaries, the originals, vitu kama hizo. But just like horror, not me. Never me. Abeyo. Because that one, it did a number on me. I still remember the name up to today. I don't remember the concept really, but it's a doppelganger. So there was one. And yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible on black and white TV. But yeah, those were the days where I used to watch Passions. I remember even the song. Oh my God. I remember so many of them. I remember something like Gilmore Girls because it was running at the time. When it was running, I remember Grey's Anatomy because it started back in the day. And I remember that one, I would see it either on NTV or Oma was it on KTN. But I never really sat down and watched. But I knew of Derek Shepherd and the wife, Dr. Gray. I knew of them. I knew, and I remember even going to the hospital one time because, as I said, my grandmother used to work in a hospital. We grew up in the staff quarters. So there's a time I was inside the hospital, I was walking through, and I had some nurses talking about it, and they were like, yeah, he's with her, but he also has a wife. It was years later that I finally watched Grey's Anatomy for me. And I think by the time I was watching it, it was at season 13. So you can imagine back then, while these nurses were talking about it, they were still during, I think that was season 2, where Derek's wife came back. What is her name? I've forgotten. I can see the face, but I've forgotten the name. But she had come back. And so it was such a long time. But I remember them. I remember Neighbors. I remember Home and Away from Australia. And these shows lied to me. Because as a kid, I used to watch them, the waiters and the waitresses working at the restaurants at the beach. And I used to be like, when I grow up, I want to be that. Oh my God. Actually, now that I've said it, oh my God, like God does these things where He puts you in situations that you asked for yourself, but you don't even realize. When I went to Italy, I didn't want to study what I studied. Honestly, every moment spent in that class, I hated it. I loved the people that I met there. I won't lie about that. I really appreciate because my best friend, I met her there. So I will never take that back. But the course that I was doing, I hated it because I'm an introvert. I'm not a people person. I don't smile at people just for the sake of smiling. I smile at people because I want to smile at them, because I love them, because I like them and stuff like that. But working as a waitress made me like have to be cordial and happy, even when somebody is talking down on you and stuff like that. And for me, that is a no-no because I snap quickly. Well, sometimes, depending on the situation. So even if I know this is a job and I can't snap, I can't get upset, I can't be angry, I know it's a job, so I have to behave. But it will kill me. It will be killing me the entire time I'll be there. And because of that, I hated that job totally. And I hated that course. But it's something that I had said I want to do when I grew up because I had seen it on Sunset Beach, I had seen it on Home and Away, I had seen it on Neighbors. Forgetting that these people were living in Australia and where they were shooting, it was like, so Australia is surrounded by water, right? And so water was everywhere. And that's just them. But I hated every moment of it. But as a kid, I was like, yeah. And then came the Filipino talent series. Oh my God. Angelo. Iñaki was in a different one. Iñaki was in a Spanish telenovela. Ah, I can see the name Paloma. I can see her innocent face, but I've forgotten what it was called. But yeah, the other one for Akina Angelo, The Promise. The Promise was a good series. I remember I watched a remake of it a couple of years back, and the people who remade it were Danielle Padilla and Catherine. What's her name? Oh my God, Catherine Bernardo. Catherine Bernardo. They were a couple at the time in real life as well, just like Jericho Rosales and the lady who played his partner in The Promise back in the day. I see her face, I've forgotten her name. Oh my god, like I'm terrible with names, forgive me, but yeah, I remember these people. And so there was them, was it Red? Her name was Red. I remember all these shows. Like my love for TV shows comes from that back in the day. Because I think it is what brought us together as a community because of that hall. And because that's where you could meet everybody, old, young and old. I loved it. We used to watch wrestling and I loved it back in the day until I realized that those fights are not real. And also, like growing up, I understood like I don't like violence. So, like, I can watch an action movie, I can watch like the Avengers because whatever they're fighting for is something. There's a story. I watch shows like The Avengers and stuff like that, DC and Marvel. I watch them because of the story behind whatever the fight is about. So, yes, there's this fight that is going on, but there's the relationship between the two brothers, that is Thor and his brother. I watch because of Iron Man and what was his love interest's name? Because of the drama that is happening. So I can watch something like The Flash because yeah, The Flash is fighting crime and stuff like that, but behind that there's his relationship with Iris, there's the friendships he has with Cisco and everybody else. I can watch Arrow. Yes, there's violence in it, but also it's the relationship between the Green Arrow, that is Oliver, and Felicity, and his relationship with John Deagle, and all of these things. So I can do that. But then if it's just like wrestling, there's no plot. These people, they're not like fighting. It's just that, oh, you have to go, there's this beef that they create for no reason. And then the moment I realized that it is not real, wrestling is not real, it crushed my heart. I felt like I'd been lied to my entire life. I hate it. I was like, so whatever, like, whatever, John Cena and Akina, The Rock and Hulk Hogan, whatever they do is for no reason. Triple H, all these things that they do is for no reason. They're just acting. And then I saw John Cena in a movie. I saw The Rock in a regular movie. I was like, what? You guys have been lying to us. You guys have been lying to us this entire time. Why? But I used to love them. And there's this guy, Kilonzo, he used to live in the same compound. He worked in the kitchen. And he is the one who remained in that hall until... Because did he ever buy a TV? Maybe when his kids came to live with him. But that was much, much later after they were done with high school. So I don't know. But I remember he's the only adult who was left going to the hall. But before, for the news, he had to be there. Oh my God, like this has brought so many memories. Oh my God, it's so nostalgic. Watching Passion and seeing that song sat at the front of, because there used to be this huge table inside the hall. So we'll sit at the front because the adults would want to sit at the back because nyinyi ni watoto, you have to sit at the front. So we will sit at the front of the table. But then if they were watching something that is adult, we will be asked to sit at the back so that we don't watch, and somebody will be watching us so that they can make sure that we're not watching the TV. And that was only if it was raining outside and there's no way of us running home. But otherwise, we'll be kicked out. But I remember that. And then I remember even my uncles and my aunt saying like this one, they like watching telenovelas. Will she ever just go to school and study and listen? Because telenovelas made me know about love. But like it's false. I remember that episode that I filmed for telenovelas. I told you how rewatching Ruby made me realize that this guy that we were falling in love with, Alejandro, was toxic. He was toxic. And his friend, what was his name? I've forgotten it. He was also very, very toxic. He forced himself on his wife several times. He locked her inside the house several times. And all of these things. Ruby was harassed so many times. There was sexual violence, there was domestic violence in her relationship. Yes, she was a terrible person, but she didn't have to face everything that she went through with Hector. Hector. That was his name. I mean, I love telenovelas, but the message they were portraying, and I get it. It's how Mexico was at the time. And I'm sure some places are still the same way. Like, this toxic masculinity and misogyny and all of these other terrible things that men do to women. But because it's the society's way, it is how we were raised, people acknowledge it and people accept it and people expect you to just follow it blindly without question and anything like that. So I remember watching these telenovelas because I started rewatching Lo que la vida me robó back in April. I haven't been able to finish it because Wi-Fi problems and just being busy and all of these things. So I'm still trying to finish it. I'm still at episode 90 something, I think, at the moment. And there are 160 something episodes, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to finish. But even in that, the way Montserrat and Alejandro's relationship began, it was very, very toxic. She was sold to this man, and he sexually assaulted her several times in the beginning. And we were just supposed to accept this. And they put it in this way that, he is her husband and she's supposed to abide by everything that he says. And whatever he does to her is okay because it's within the context of marriage. And I was like, as an adult now watching it, yes, like I love Alejandro still, but then there's this thing where you're watching and you're like, this thing is bad. And there's this group of girls who back in the day, they used to do like telenovelas. They would write the synopsis. You need the thing is called Kare Kare. I don't know how to describe it. I think it's a blog. Yeah, I think the blog is the best way to describe it. So their blog is called Kare Kare. That is Caray. Kare Kare. Or is there an E? I don't know. Maybe there's REY or something. I don't know. But I know it's Kare Kare. And I remember, I don't know, by the time I realized about this blog, I was a little bit older now. The last telenovelas I watched on NTV and stuff. Because I will go and type like, if I'll be watching something, because I love knowing, I've said this, I love spoilers. I love knowing how things end. And because by the time you're watching them in Kenya, they've already been shown in Mexico and maybe in the US, I usually go like type them, what happens to so and so in this and this show. And that's how I came to know of Kare Kare, because they will be like episode so and so, so they will show like what happened and they will write like an entire synopsis of everything that happened in the show that day. And so the ladies, I remember they're in their synopsis, they were the first one to point out just how cruel Alejandro was to Montserrat on Lo que la vida me robó, because they spoke about it. Because they are women, it's a blog that is run by women, a couple of women. So, like today's episode will be written by one of them, the next episode will be written by somebody else, or they'll be doing weekly, and stuff like that. And I remember reading it years later after the show had already come out. And I was like, yo, this is right. And even while I've been rewatching Lo que la vida me robó, I went back to Kare Kare. And one of the episodes again, they were like, yeah, Alejandro did this to Montserrat and it was not okay. Like, yes, he's handsome. Yes, he's, that body of his. Oh my God. God sculptured, like he made him while he was happy. That man looks fine. But then the character that he played on Ruby and the character that he played on, I think even on Teresa, he does something like that. And then the character he plays on Lo que la vida me robó towards Montserrat. And in this Teresa and Lo que la vida me robó, it's the same woman. And they are in a real life relationship. Him and Angelique Boyer. So it's just, as a kid I didn't understand, honestly, but then as an adult you look at these shows and you're like, But back then I used to watch and I'd be Alejandro, Iñaki, I don't know who else. And they were toxic. These people were toxic. But they made me love TV. They made me fall in love with whatever they were doing. And I remember while I was in high school, the things I wanted to do was either be a nurse, an English teacher, or a media personality. Like not like presenting the news and stuff, but like uko nyuma. Or if it's if it's a presenter, maybe on radio, because yeah, I'm not made for TV. And if I have to go on TV, all that makeup and blah, no. But yeah, so no. But I remember wanting to do mass communication at some point. And the reason I wanted to do mass communication is so that I could get into TV. Like just the writing and nini, nini, nini. So yeah, I remember all of these things. And I wanted to be part of that institution, like that industry, because of the TV shows that I watched and my love for them. And then as I grew older, now in the age of Wi-Fi and stuff, you go online and you see behind the scenes and you see how TV shows are made. You see like a movie like Avatar with a green screen and stuff like that. And I'm like, why aren't I doing these things? You understand what editing takes and everything that you have to do, putting the music, and I don't know what. I wish I knew all of these things. Like I do my reviews on Wednesdays, but I told you that I'm an amateur, so I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like talking from the perspective of somebody who's consuming this content. And because I watched the movie, I give my thoughts, I give my musings of what I watched and how I felt. So that's just how I review them. But I wish I could be able to review them in depth. Like, the editing was done like this. I say cinematography, but I really don't understand in depth what that means. So I know other reviewers who have done film, they can go in depth and they can talk about everything that was missing in a movie. While I will watch it and be like, oh yeah, it was nice. It was nice. It was funny. It was good. And if it was bad, I'll be like, yeah, that was bad. Because as a viewer, that is what I felt. But I wish I could be able to do that like in that deeper level, because I've done media, I've done mass communication, I've done the editing. I know what is supposed to go in there. I know what they're supposed to be doing. If I see something grainy, like I'll be like, oh, that I wish they could have shot it in this angle and blah blah blah. So like, hey, TV is just an amazing industry. And I wish people just knew that. People make so much money from all of these things, but it's not even the actors are the ones who usually make a lot of money. The people behind the scenes don't, but I wish they did as well. Because the things that especially the editors, I don't think they get paid as much as the actors. But the jobs that these people do, imagine putting a river or an ocean or a boat, a huge, like, 911 is an amazing TV show that I love. It's on ABC. And actually, they have just started. The new season started on the 9th. That was just, okay, on Thursday. And we are on season 9 right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's season 9. And season 8, there's this part where they land a plane on a highway. And Bobby Nash is standing there talking to his wife, telling her, like, I'm here, I'm waiting, and stuff like that. And she lands the plane. She's not a pilot. She's a police officer. Is she a captain? She's a captain or something. And she'll be giving her the proper title. But she lands the plane with the help of this little boy. And, you look at it and the way it was shot. As a viewer, I'm looking at this and I'm like, yo, this is beautifully done. Like, I remember watching, even now, although I don't want to, I know I should rewatch season 8 before I start season 9. But season 8 was so sad because Bobby Nash dies. I don't want to cry again because of his death. So, like, I'm feeling some type of way, but I know I'll have to at some point. Actually, once they finish all of season 9, when they go for break, I'll have to watch season 8 so that I can connect with season 9. I know I'll have to, and I know when I'll do that, I'll still cry for Bobby, because it was such a sad death, and nobody expected it, and he was one of everyone's favorite actors in the show, and he just didn't have to die. I don't know why they had to kill him off. It was just a terrible, terrible thing. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, I'm so passionate about TV shows. You'd think that I'm there. I've rewatched Gilmore Girls, I don't know how many times. Um, Grey's Anatomy, I don't know how many times. Supernatural, I don't know how many times. Vampire Diaries, the original, Sense 8. Right now I'm rewatching Sense 8. Dynasty, The Flash, Arrow. What I recently watched Modern Family. I'd never watched it because once I got Netflix, it's easier to watch shows on Netflix because most of them are there. But the funny thing is, some of the shows that are outside the country, they're not here, and you have to find them on things like Hulu and Disney and stuff like that. But then I'm not going to pay for all of those things. So if I can find something online somewhere else where I can stream or download and stuff like that, I do that. And then I watch them. And Modern Family is long. It's 11 seasons, and it's one of those ones from back in the day that used to be like 24 episodes in a season, 23, 22. So it was an amazing watch, but it was long. I also watched New Girl for the first time. It was an amazing one because these are comedies. I rewatched The Office, the US one. I also watched Schitt's Creek for the first time. It's an amazing. I've rewatched it twice now. So I know a third time is coming because the thing with me is that I watch and then I get to a point where I miss them. Like right now, I missed Teen Wolf and it's no longer on Netflix. So I found a place to watch it and I'll be watching it again soon. Jane the Virgin. I don't know how many times I've rewatched it, but anyway, it's the fall, so it's time to start rewatching Gilmore Girls again because that's a yearly thing, and also I've started rewatching Friends again. I rewatch Friends twice a year. So at the beginning of the year, I was watching Friends. I finished it. Then a couple of months passed and I didn't watch it again. And I recently started watching it. So right now on my watch list on Netflix, I have The Flash, which I'm now doing a proper closure session now because I haven't watched season 9, the last season. So I was like, instead of just watching season 9, let me start from season 1. So I'm on season 6 at the moment, and yeah, I think halfway. I'm halfway through with season 6. So there's The Flash. I also have Dynasty on there, and I'm on season, is it 4 or 5 of Dynasty? But I haven't watched it this month yet. So I should actually. Since 8, I started watching it. After I finish recording this, if I want to be sleepy yet, I'll finish because I'm on the last episode of season 2 of Sense 8. So if I want to finish it today, if I get sleepy, I'll sleep. Then I'll finish tomorrow because it takes 2 hours 17 minutes, the last episode. And I think I'm on minute 10 or something. So I don't think I'll be able to finish tonight. But I'll probably do it by tomorrow. And then at least it'll get out of my list. I have Heartstopper on there. I think I'm on season 2 of rewatching it. And is there something else? Orange is the New Black. I don't know why I stopped. I think it was in season 5. I have to finish that one as well. So yeah. And What If is also on my watch list. It's like I start watching something and then I get to a point, the moment it starts boring me, I remember I missed something else and I start watching something else, which is something I never used to do. I'm the kind of person who would start a TV series and finish it before I went to another one. But this past couple of months, I don't know what has been happening. Because Dynasty, I also started it in August. I didn't finish it because of the Wi-Fi. And then when I got Wi-Fi again, I was like, yeah, I'm not continuing with it. Let me finish The Flash because CW shows have been, I don't know why they removed them from Netflix. I think their contracts end and stuff, and so they removed them. So I was like, let me just do a rerun of it, and then I'll be done. I know I'll rewatch Lucifer again soon. The last time I rewatched it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. So either by the end of this year or next year, I have to watch Lucifer, which is crazy because all these shows, I have a list full, like my Netflix list of the shows that I haven't watched yet. They're still there, so many, and movies. But then I start watching a new one and I'm like, you know who I miss? I miss Gilmore Girls. I miss Dean from Gilmore Girls, and I'll go back. Or I'll watch something else and be like, oh, you know what this reminds me of? Jane the Virgin. And then I'll go and start watching Jane the Virgin. So, like, I have this thing for TV shows, and I feel like I miss the characters because I put myself in their situations. Like, I usually say to myself, anyway, that the TV show that I mostly resonate with is Jane the Virgin, not because of like her being a virgin and the blah 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 and everything, but because of living with her grandma, being raised by her grandma and her mom and stuff like that, and everything, the virtues that she was taught, blah blah blah. There's some things that I resonate with her, and also and her closeness with her grandma as well. And like for movies, like Encanto is sort of my story in a weird way, and I don't know, it's just these TV shows, you watch them and then you just see yourself in them. I rewatched Encanto, I think last week, or was it last week? But one of those weekends, I rewatched Encanto, and it always makes me cry because I see Maribel and I see myself and everything she goes through trying to prove herself and everything, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. And so I don't know. I love TV shows in a very, very weird way because I put myself in those situations. I understand them deeply and I miss the characters once I'm done. And I always want to go back to start watching. And whenever I do that, if I have the time, I usually finish. But there are shows like Grey's Anatomy, I need to just find time to start Grey's Anatomy again from season 1. I've recently rewatched Scandal as well. So there are shows that I rewatch every year. Scandal is one of them. Friends is one of them. Jane the Virgin, Gilmore Girls, as I said. There are shows like those ones that I have to rewatch every single year. They just do something for me. And something like Sense8, this is the third time I'm rewatching it this year, I think. Yeah, I think this is the third time I'm rewatching Sense8. Because, I don't know, it's just weird. I get to a point and I miss the characters, which is, I'm sure some people won't be able to understand because they're like, no, I watched it once and that was it. But I do this thing where I'll watch it once. The first time I'm watching it just because I have to watch it. And then the second time I watch it, I realize, oh, there's some things I missed. Like at a moment I went to the bathroom, or I was standing away from the TV and I was washing my dishes, or, something like that. And so this time I'm rewatching it, I'm like, I didn't see this part. Even as I'm rewatching Sense8 for the third time this year, I watched a part where I was like, I don't remember this happening. I don't remember seeing this part. This is the third time I'm rewatching it this year. Not like the first time, third time this year. Not third time ever. But yeah, it's crazy. So I'm going to stop it at that. I think I've told you, my love for TV shows and where it came from. Like from my childhood, I've always loved TV. And I wish that at some point I'll be able to write a script and finish it and see my work on a big screen somewhere in Kenya or around the world or something. And if I win awards for it, it will be an amazing thing because that's the dream for every writer, right? But I hope that one day I'll be able to finish that script and I'll write the others that I have in my mind and just be part of it. Even like I'll give the script, but I want to be behind the scenes. I want to watch how it's done, them acting and everything. I want to be on a set at some point in my life, and I pray to God that that happens for me because I really, really love the TV life, and I really, really love how they do everything behind the scenes and stuff. So, yeah, help me pray for that, okay? Help me to pray for that. Help me to calm my mind enough for me to be able to finish my script. And maybe that will happen. Maybe I'll give it to somebody and they'll be interested and they'll be like, okay, we are going to work on this. So, crossing my fingers and praying to God that it happens. Pray for me as well, okay? Yeah, I'm going to leave it at this. Tell me in the comment section if you have a passion for TV like me. If you do, well, welcome to the craziness. If you do not, it's okay. If you rewatch shows like me, tell me as well, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that. And tell me which ones you have to rewatch every single year, okay? Comment that in the comment section below or DM me on my Instagram, Mimi's Musings Podcast, and tell me over there. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be announced